A fossil-based urbanism? Can we afford that? Where the hell are we going to put, or are we going to absorb the 100 million people in 30 years? Allow me to be a little bit emotional. I have been trying for these kind of narratives in the last 10 years, and nobody seems to hear. Would it be an exclusive city model of the Middle East, which is seducing our leaders? Exclusive enough to kick out the poor? Is that the profile that we are imagining our cities to be? Or would it be the high-speed urbanism of China? If this or that, the question would be, how and who would finance it? Should I give you a number, like my colleagues were giving you, how many trillions of dollars that would be? How are these organisms will respond also to realities of local and global culture, or local and global economic realities? These are the questions probably that we have to ask, and we have to tell Cedric Price that at least we know the questions. If we have to employ technology to resolve and help us to find out the solutions, I think we here know the problems and the questions. And here are the real questions. If urbanization is a process of holistic transformation of societies, how and what type of cities are we going to build? Or how and what kind of communities are we going to build? These are the type of questions that probably we may ask. Or, probably if we join them together, how can we build communities also through building cities? Probably Fasil Georgis will be speaking on this. Allow me a little more minutes as now to speak as educator and not as an architect. I'm self-criticizing myself. Here is how we are educated. Books, curriculums, teachers. This is what we saw, so that we may conceive the vision of the future. Nothing wrong about that one, but for me everything is wrong. Because indeed we are distanced from reality. Heading into the pornography of images, we are distanced from the reality of the ground. Our education and practice established on norms and dreams of a distance elsewhere. Many of you probably have come from abroad, and probably you wanted also to bring some image with you, so that you may share with us what can be the image and imagination, as imagination is a concept or a notion which comes from the notion of image. But here is the reality. This is Addis Ababa, and this is many of parts of Ethiopia. Forget about all these shiny buildings. This is not reality. I said 0.01%. This is a reality. And then we want to transform it. And how? We wanted to camouflage images again. Or we want to camouflage with images again. But the question that we have to ask is, transforming to fit what and to fit whom? Yes, I call, or I appeal, contemporary architectural and engineering education has to be based on a fair reading of realities, local or global realities, understanding where we are and what we are. It's easy to import images, trust me on that. I am an expert on that. Africa is indeed the last frontier of urbanization. Urbanization has been tried deeply and well enough in the rest of the world. And the good part for us is that we know what won't work, and we know at least what somehow works. Though our continent and our region is the earliest inhabited region with a solid landmass and rich resources, Still, Africa is the least urbanized and the last frontier of urbanization, which means that there are interests of investment, interests of experimentations, whatnot. Just to share you what I'm talking about in terms of history, when I talk about Africa, Africa has never been experimenting on its own urbanization model or urbanization systems. Since 7th century, you know that we have different models being experimented in Africa. The Islamic expansion from the 7th to the 15th century, the European colonization, and then also we have now the new global reality, be it the Chinese capital or whatever. And they all came up with their own city models. And then they wanted us to be fit into whatever theory and somehow ideology which makes sense to those externalities. And the indigenous city has never been experimented. I have to somehow be faster a little bit. The Ethiopia today, as well as the Africa today, indeed, when one talks about urbanization, swings between despair and hope. You know this image. When the shift, the local shift from rural to urban fails, this shift, which is producing migration, would also create a cross-country or a cross-continent migration as we know it. Let's be fair and open. Part of those people in that ship are Ethiopians and Eritreans. I have been working as a volunteer in Germany in trying to facilitate, and many of those people are Ethiopians and Eritreans. Hope as a grand challenge, despair as a grand challenge, I would say. Higher rate of urbanization as a challenge. It becomes a challenge because urbanization is lubricated or instigated not because of industrialization. Cities are not attracting people to come to them. The rural area is the one which is pushing people. When people arrive to cities, there is nothing to be absorbed with. That's why you see people on the street. It is not like the books that we read about urbanization in the West, because urbanization in the West was founded on the strengths of industrialization in cities, which were looking for extra labor from the rural areas. But our case is the reverse. When I say our, not only Ethiopia, but also Africa, I would call it distress migration. And also, urbanization in this part of the world is not because of modernization. There's no modernization project, as you know it, in this part of the world. So you have all these conflicts. Rapid population growth is also another challenge. And then also expanding natural and man-made crises in this part of the world, again instigating distress and migration. On the hope side, grand opportunities I call it. Yes, we have young population, fairly rich and recoverable in my sense, at least natural resources, referring to water, soil, and sun. Digitalization and globalization is also offering us opportunities. And then also backwardness is also an opportunity. It allows us not to repeat stupid mistakes of humanity, at least, if we can learn. What's architecture got to do with this? I'm concluding. Architecture and city making in Africa or in Ethiopia, is betraying both nature and society, like I said, and hence made itself irrelevant. So to relevance again, or to re-relevancing architecture and city making, I would propose the reinvention of architecture and city making. Architecture and city making as an enterprise to coordinate and link core processes of survival and articulation of life. Core processes, livelihood production, environmental rehabilitation, and space making. Livelihood production, responding to societal needs, which means jobs. Our cities have to create jobs. And hence, our architecture, the way we do infrastructure and buildings, have to offer the productions of jobs. And then also our cities. Cities are criticized for being toxic for the environment. That's what we know. But Africa has a chance to reinvent the notion of cities. I speak very boldly of this, of a new model of a city which can become actually a healer of the environment. It's not an impossible dream, I would say. That's what we do here in Addis Ababa University as a research. And then you are invited to join us. To join us in researching, guiding rapid urbanization, focusing on grassroots reorganization, architecture as a process of lively production, city making as a process of rehabilitation of the environment, and then also the reinvention of urban tradition, belongingness and participation in city making. Thank you very much.